All right. Good evening, Miss Blunt. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this interview with me. So let me correct myself. I said Miss Blunt. I should be saying Dr. Blunt. So thank you again. Could you just go ahead and kind of formally introduce yourself for me?
Yes, I am Dr. Blunt, the principal at Northridge Middle School. I've been a principal there for the past 3 years, and I have to say I'm really enjoying the middle school culture as I have transitioned from high to middle.
Okay. Tonight I'm going to ask you a series of questions. They all pretty much have something to do with curriculum development, curriculum alignment. And I'm going to go ahead and get started.
Okay.
All right. How does your job as an administrator lead and motivate teachers to adhere to the prescribed state standards?
Okay, so what I do before school even starts, I meet with my leadership team. The leadership team consists of all core teachers in the four subject areas. And from there, we look at the standards. We also look at what past standards were taught. And that's how we interpret what we're going to do in the classroom. There are also walkthroughs that I conduct in the lesson plans to make sure that they do align with the learning target and with this standard that is being taught.
Okay. So it's safe to say the teachers are involved in curriculum decisions. Would you say
Yes,
yes
ma'am.
or no? Okay.
No, because the teachers do meet every Tuesday within their departments to talk about curriculum and do their lesson plans together.
Okay. So as far as developing the curriculum though, is it kind of already developed ahead of time for them or no?
Okay, so within our school, we're using A plus as our curriculum.
Okay.
And with A plus, that curriculum is already built for us. The teachers attend workshops during the summer months, and within those workshops, teachers are then taught the standards in order to come back to the classroom and teach the students.
Okay. In your opinion, Dr. Blunt, is the A plus curriculum um kind of already aligned or pretty closely aligned to the state standards?
That is correct. A plus is aligned with the Alabama state standards. It is approved, that many school districts are using the program itself or the curriculum itself. You have teachers from all over the state that come together once a year to learn, to be taught. And the thing is that they're using the Mazzano elements. And with those elements that are implemented in those standards in order to help the students succeed, it's very rigor.
Okay. Now, do you have? I'm sure you have an instructional coach in your building. Do you have one or two or?
Okay, we have one instructional coach.
Okay, and primarily, what is her job as it relates to the curriculum development or alignment?
Okay, with our coach, she of course is trained by our district,
Okay.
and within our district, there she comes back and she per se strategize different things for the teachers to use in their classroom or strategies as far as tier one instruction. This coach also attends the workshops with us in the summertime in order to be familiar with what the guide is when using A plus.
Okay. Um, so how do you assess teachers when you go into their classrooms? Since they're using the A plus curriculum, like what tools do you use to assess the curriculum that they're using?
Yes, ma'am. So what we're doing, we're still using the district walkthrough assessments that they have already created. However, we add an extra layer to where as we look for those Mazzano's elements in the classroom to see if the teachers are exactly using those strategies to help students succeed.
So if teachers had a say in it, do you think they would rather use the A plus curriculum or would they choose to kind of use the district's pacing guides that's already in place?
Okay, so when it comes to state testing, that's when we feel that we need a little bit more information or per se guidance when making sure we have those formative assessments correctly, because our district is on a different pacing guide. But I can give an example of our math teachers over the summer, this past summer, what they did. They ended up looking at the district standards or the state standards, and they looked at A+ standards. And we were off just a little bit as far as when the standards are being taught. So that was one thing that we had to revamp, because when our students did take P2P test, we noticed that our standards were not aligned. Now, do our teachers or do my teachers enjoy the A+? I would say yes, because it gives us an opportunity to come together as one. When you go into one classroom, you're going to see the same thing being taught, but just different ways. So it actually brought us closer together.
Okay. So you just briefly mentioned P2P, and that I'm assuming that is Pathway to Proficiency. What is your take on the Pathway to Proficiency assessment that your district is currently using? Well, how do they use that Pathway to Proficiency and aligning with A+, or are they not aligned? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Okay, so because there are two entities, they are aligned because they're the same standards. Are they being taught at the same pacing guide as our district? No, they're not. And that's when we use that extra time over the summer to align it. The standards are the same as far as it being an A+ or a district. It's just how we present. And that's with that Marzano. The only thing that's not there are the formative assessment, and we have to build our own test.
Okay. All right. Now, A+, does it have a good bit of technology embedded in their curriculum?
Okay. So with A+, there's a lot of movement. Students are not sitting in their desk. And with Marzano, it states that students learn better when they're in movement. So that is the part that we enjoyed the most, but it was something that I had to get used to because I'm used to a student having a seat. Students are now taking ownership, because within those elements or within the curriculum, students play a role as the lead, taking the lead, where the teacher is the facilitator.
Okay. Gotcha. So how deep are your teachers diving in technology, whether they're using A+ or not? Are the teachers training their students to take a deep dive into technology?
Okay, so we take a deep dive in technology when it comes to preparing for whether it's the ACAP, whether it's iReady, or whether it's P2P. As far as technology being used in the classroom, we've kind of moved away from it, and we're now using paper and pen, or pen and paper, pencil and paper, because when you write, that's when you rememberize the information more fluently than you're typing using technology. So we've pulled away from it, and A+ is hands-on.
Okay. And I totally agree. That's the way I teach my daughter to study all the time. If you write it, you'll know it.
Yes.
So this will be my last question.
Yes, ma'am.
There are some specific tools that students have to know when they take the ACAP. Specific tools on their Chromebooks, specific tools as to how to highlight, specific tools as to how to use their calculator, how to drag and drop when it comes to the ACAP. Being that you all have kind of stepped away from the technology portion, how does your teachers ensure that students, let's say a sixth grader, we know an eighth grader because
They've done
sixth graders, I've been out of middle school a while. Are the sixth graders testing in ACAP?
Yes, they are.
Okay, I didn't want to say anything wrong. But how do you all ensure that they are ready to use those different tools and tidbits?
Okay, so we have a boot camp. In the boot camp, it consists of what you're saying, the drag and drop, the highlight. Now, in the instruction itself, too, in the classroom, there's some technology, but not a lot because of the movement in the classroom. So there are times when a teacher do set aside those particular movements or those particular clicks for the students to get used to.
Okay. All right. Do you have any questions for me, Dr. Blunt?
Yes, ma'am, I do. When you're talking about the curriculum and the difference between A plus and what our district is currently using, I tell you that using A plus is great. Are you familiar with A plus?
No, I am not familiar with A plus. You know, I did spend some time at Northridge Middle School as an assistant principal, and they were moving into A plus the year that I was there, but I left before they fully implemented it. And I did attend a few summer trainings when I taught ELA in Hill County. They were getting ready to implement A plus, so I have not had the opportunity to be a part of implementing the curriculum. But however, you know, I did play a big role in creating the ELA pacing guides for Tuscaloosa City as an instructional coach.
Yes.
We would meet every summer and develop the pacing guides and the benchmark assessments for ELA and social studies. So I did get to play a role in that, but no, the A plus curriculum is new. One positive thing I always hear about it though is that everything is already created for you. Like you don't have to do anything.
And that's the great thing about it. And sometimes what we run into, especially when new teachers come in, everything is there for you. However, it's the delivery.
Yeah.
You may see it taught two different. Well, we're in pods, so we have 3 different ways that one lesson is taught. And then it also gives teachers an opportunity to come together and see each other, because we do vertical teams and we also do instructional rounds. So that gives teacher opportunity to see how it's being taught different ways.
Okay. Well, Dr. Blunt, thank you so much for taking the time out to help me get this completed. It was a little bit of a struggle because, you know, we were on spring break last week and everybody I reached out to was gone out of town on vacation. So thank you for giving me your time tonight.
Yes, ma'am.
And that is all I have. I will stop the recording and then I will end the call.
Yes, ma'am. Well, have a good evening. Thank you
for
the opportunity. Yes, ma'am. Have a good night.
You too.